Viti Levu is home to 70% of the population for Fiji, and there are still some areas that are inaccessible by telecommunications and also by road.
Has aid actually started going out yet?
I'm pleased to confirm that it has. This afternoon there are 2 boats going to Overlau and to Koru Islands. The Ministry of Education is leading that mission, and Unicef supplies for health, education, and water, sanitation and hygiene are on those boats.
So that was just this afternoon that the government gave you the okay to start doing that?
The government requested international assistance from heads of diplomatic missions and UN agencies today, from the international community overall, and a specific request was made to UNICEF for assistance. We've worked with the government here for a very long time. We work very well together. We have materials pre-positioned here ready to go. Our warehouse is now working with volunteers and staff around the clock to get all those shipped and ready to go and packed. So we're ready. The government here is moving incredibly quickly. You wouldn't have recognised Suva yesterday. There was debris and trees and power lines literally everywhere. The government imposed a 24-hour curfew, which was extremely sensible. It allowed them to get rid of those live power lines and clear trees that were in the roads. And this morning, what are we talking? Less than 48 hours later, after the cyclone, the government is ready for action. Relief supplies are going to areas that the New Zealand Defence Force Orion aerial survey yesterday identified as being priorities. There's some communities that we've seen photos from this surveillance mission yesterday, and looking down at these communities, there should be a village and there is just debris. There is where there should be a house, you're seeing a concrete pad with debris around it. It's deeply distressing imagery to have a look at, and these are from areas that we still don't have any telecommunications with, so we simply don't know if this confirmed death toll of 17 is going to rise. All expectations are that it will.
In terms of the devastation, not the response as such, how does it compare though to Pam?
I can't personally compare it for you right now because in Vanuatu I was under the eye of the cyclone in Port Vila, which was frankly the scariest experience of my life, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. In terms of what the experience was here, we had a pretty awful night as well, but it was a night where the destruction that was revealed the next morning. Some roofs had lifted, huge trees had fallen over, telephone poles had fallen over. Telephone poles had these fireworks from trees thrashing against them because of the wind. But we are still considering ourselves lucky. Those who were under what was definitely Fiji's strongest ever cyclone, and possibly the Southern Hemisphere's strongest ever cyclone, will not have been so lucky. The situation here is that we've pre-positioned emergency supplies. We're ready to go immediately and get aid to those who need it most. Today, those 2 boats will be taking medical and emergency and supplies, a wide variety of supplies. They're education supplies for kids whose schools have been destroyed, whose education has been interrupted. We know that even though it seems counterintuitive in an emergency, getting kids back into school quickly, even if that school is a tent, is the best way to help them recover emotionally. It's the best way to keep them safe when their parents are focusing on the cleanup and the recovery process. It also helps them, of course, to continue with their education. But we also have, in addition to medical supplies, we have water, sanitation and hygiene supplies, which will help to prevent the spread of disease outbreaks, which is a real risk after a situation such as this.
Do you have any worries now or concerns that aid started to go out about how it goes from here?
At this point in time, obviously we have pre-positioned materials, but they're not sufficient for the scale of the destruction that's being revealed day by day. We're seeing, from what we're seeing from the areas that we have been able to access and the government has been able to access, the destruction is awful, and we just know that there are so many more areas waiting to hit, waiting to reveal themselves in terms of destruction. So we have immediate response materials. We have the logistics infrastructure that we need to get them here. Logistically, to get to outer islands, it's very difficult, but the Fiji government is very organised in this respect, and they will be able to ship materials where they're needed most. But what we now need is money, I'm afraid. This is an incredibly expensive process logistically to get materials from overseas through to Fiji, and to get these materials out to those outer islands, especially, who are going to need the most help.